الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وآله وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. So we had covered this part, but we'll just look at it again. The argument of this book is fairly simple. The Islamic State, judged by any standard definition of what modern state represents, is both an impossibility and contradiction in terms. So last time we looked at we focus on impossibility and contradictions. And basically what he's trying to do here is, obviously we would have to read the whole book or that chapter at least. I think in chapter 3 he talks about the state in order to get a full grip on what he's saying. But what it seems at this point is that he's trying to problematize the concept of Islamic State, and especially as a modern state. So what he's trying to problematize, or what he's trying to claim here anyway, is, so what he's saying is that the Islamic State, Islamic State, judged by any standard definition of what modern state is. So modern state is another. I don't know what he means by standard definition. And he's talking about representation as well. So what does this modern state represent? So in this context, Islamic State is a contradiction in terms and impossibility. So you can still probably construct a modern state in Muslim countries, but that won't be Islamic State. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Still, it's not clear contradiction in the sense that if it is a modern state represents something which is exact opposite of what Islamic State is supposed to represent, then it would be a contradiction, or Islam is supposed to represent, it would be a contradiction in terms. But what is clear here is he's trying to problematize the concept of state. It seems like, and his critique would be, it seems like his critique would be geared towards a critique of those Islamic movements and Islamic movements which emphasize the importance of establishing Islamic State in order to combat colonialism, in order to combat the aggression of the modern state against Islam, etc. Okay, now the first, it talks about state. So from there he start talking about Sharia. So until the early 19th century, this state seems just random, I think. And for 12 centuries before then, the moral law of Islam, that's another concept, the Sharia. So Sharia, successfully negotiated customary law. So that's another concept, customary law. And local customary practices, that's another concept. And had emerged as the supreme moral and legal force. So not law, but force. Regulating both society and government. So it's regulating. So regulating, but not governing, I guess, society and government. So, it seems like what he's saying is that Sharia was able to become a supreme law, or supreme force anyway, which was able to regulate society and government without being a state. Let's see. There's a lot of terms here, and we need to focus on them. And as we go along, and if we actually define them differently, then we'll see about that. But I think we should always read these texts like this, these texts like these actively, because yeah, okay. Now let's take these concepts one by one. The first concept, Sharia. And he means the moral law of Islam. Now, obviously, Western scholarship is obsessed with Sharia. But I don't really know what Sharia is, because, like in the context of Islamic disciplines, because obviously the word is a Quranic word, not in this form, but in a Quran, for example, Shari'a-1 wa minhajan. And we know about in Usul al-Fiqh, al-Hukm al-Shari. And al-Hukm al-Shari is divided into a taklifi, al-Hukm al-Taklifi, and al-Hukm al-Wazi. But Sharia as a noun, for example, I don't know, as a noun, what does it mean? It's an invention of Western scholarship, really. So we need to problematize this conception. And in order to do this, we need to do three things. We'll do some of this, but those who want to look on this a bit more carefully, so linguistic meaning, then the Quranic usage, because the Quranic usage is often more specific than the linguistic usage. And then Islamic disciplines have their own usage, and it doesn't necessarily have to correspond with the Quranic usage. Because in fiqh, when we use shari, we use it in a specific sense, which has some commonalities with the Quranic usage, but it is very specific. It doesn't correspond to it. Okay, so we need to know the linguistic meaning of shara, the Quranic meaning, and then for example, in Usul fiqh, because these are two most relevant Islamic disciplines to this usage. And then we need to deconstruct this whole conception of Sharia as a moral law of Islam. Okay, so let's start with the word Sharia, and Arabic Sharia. And the root of this word in Arabic, Shin, Ra, and Ain. So from this root you have Sharia, this word. You have Shari'a or Shara, and you have Shar'u or Shira. So what's the meaning of the words related to this root, specifically these immediate roots or immediate forms of this word, Sharia or Shara or Shira? First, we'll look at its linguistic meaning in Arabic language. Obviously, Quranic Arabic. And the modern Arabic usage is not always necessarily the same. A shar in Arabic language means, it has many meanings, related meanings. One of the meaning is al-bayan wal-izhar. In Arabic, to explain something, clarify something, to make something prominent in the sense that in a way that everybody is able to see it and know it. So this is the basic one basic meaning to explain. And this there's another meaning related to ashara. It's a bit different. Is to drink, a shurb. That's also meaning of the shurb. So these are two meanings: to drink or to clarify, to explain. So, for example, if you say Shari'a-1 means to explain something. To clarify something, to make it clear. So something which is clear so everybody can see it, obvious, something prominent. So to explain something is to make it prominent, obvious. And that's why in Arabic language, shira, the same root, shira safina, for example, the sale of the ships is also called, because you can see it clearly from far away as well. It's prominent. It's a prominent part of the so the sale of the ships is called shira in Arabic, because you can see it prominent. It is prominent. You can see it from far away. So similarly, when you explain some difficult concept, it's called shara, to explain, to make it obvious, to make it simple, to make it, to clarify it so everybody can see its meaning. And the second meaning, to drink, is also, for example, sharat dab. So if an animal enters into water or a pond to drink, that's called shara. And a Sharia in this sense also mean a body of water. A pond is also Sharia in that sense. Okay, so these are two basic meaning of shara or Sharia, shira in Arabic language. And when we look at the Quranic usage, Al-Quran, Al-Kareem, these two meanings are clear. So in the Quranic usage, if you look at all the verses in which this Sheen, Ra, Ain, and its the words from this root are used, the overall concept is as formulated by someone. I'll just write it down and then I'll translate it. So in the Quranic usage, Sharia, by Sharia, Shara, we mean everything which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of for his creatures, for his slaves, in terms of belief systems, the belief system which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. So Sharia and system of worship. So these are the bases of Sharia. System of belief and worldview and system of worship. And then akhlaq, morals and ethics. And then etiquettes and manners. Ahkamat. Then these ahkamat, which normally people call it Sharia, the law of different sorts. And mamlat. These are part of ahkamat, mamlat, guidance for how to establish relationships among different people within a family, within a society, so it's a whole way of life, basically. Sharia means a way of life. And its foundation is belief system and system of worship. That's why even fiqh, a lot of fiqh books start with aqidah and then morals, and then start with system of worship, and then go on ahkamat and mamlat, and then a lot of fiqh book ends with manners and all those things. So in this sense, Sharia is a very comprehensive word, almost similar or synonymous with Islam. So in this sense, Sharia is not a particular type of law or decree or something like that, and not even so-called moral law. So this is the general Quranic usage. So Sharia is basically whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed for his slaves in terms of system of belief, worldview, system of worship, and system of morals, ethics, and a system of etiquettes and manners, and then commands, all his commands in terms of which apply to customs, relationships, and their day-to-day needs, etc. So that's what Sharia is in a Quranic term, and the word is used in the Quran in various forms. I probably will look at that last time, to look at the Quranic usage, actual ayah verses next time. But for example, it's you can look in Surah Shura, ayah 13 and 21, for example. In ayah 30, شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به شرع. So Sharia. من نوح والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى أن أقيموا الدين ولا تتفرقوا فيه. And then in ayah 21, أم لهم شركاء شرعوا لهم من الدين ما لم يأذن به الله. And then again in Surah Jasiyah, Surah Al-Ma'idah, you have Shiratan. In Surah Jasiyah, actually, Sharia, that's the only occasion when the actual exact word Sharia is used in Quran. Summa ja'alnakum ala shari'atin min al-amri. So we'll look at all this next time, inshallah.